Welcome to Worlds Collide, a wrestling card podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans, featuring Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com.
This is like a stock market.
And Zhan Morning from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, I'm just posing the question. Join them as they navigate the world of wrestling cards, helping you build a bigger and better collection and making some money along the way. What's up, wrestling fans? Back again, once again. Worlds Collide. You like that pause?
That was the most monotone. Not even monotone. What's the word I'm looking for? It was the most. You laid back.
You made a comment about how I looked like I was in a radio studio, so I immediately went out and put my application in for NPR. And I'm trying to work on that voice of just very monotone. Trying to put old people to sleep.
Come on, be honest now. When you get sick and your voice starts getting kind of crazy, it's like that, you throw your radio voice in the shower, don't you?
No.
So it's just me.
No, if I started getting sick and my voice starts going, I'm gonna immediately want to do a podcast so I can sound like I'm hitting puberty. That'll be fun.
That's good. Oh.
All right.
Welcome to Worlds Collide.
Oh man, then I'd be a little bit more in the Don West category than if I start doing that. That's a good idea.
I should do that. I'm gonna get sick more often. No.
Yeah. Speaking of getting sick, maybe we're sick about talking about this, but you actually brought this up, and I was immediately like, let's do this. What's going to be the first Indy card to hit $1,000? Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Indy cards before we jump into some sales that I've pulled up of 5 recent sales that have to do Indy cards. Let's just discuss the general topic, though, because you've seen it, I've seen it, anybody within the wrestling card hobby has seen it. This explosion recently of not just, for a while it was, hey, it's the all-in set. No, not anymore. We've got cards outselling that now. We've got people talking about it, but yet the dollar amount hasn't hit where some of the tops stuff has hit. So first impression, what are you thinking of this sudden explosion of Indy cards?
This is a Chuckster's dream conversation right here, man. I follow the market just like anything else, really. And seeing these prices go up and it's no surprise to me, actually. It really isn't. Indie cards are nothing new to the hobby. I mean, I've got some, was it the Unbeatables or something like that, or whatever, it's from like the 90s.
Yes.
There's various, little indie type cards like that that have been put out over the years. Some came from Germany back in the 90s. Just a lot of those, but not until the more modern stuff that's really becomes, now we have AEW. So people are looking like AEW's roster is made up of a majority of people who, really thrived in the indie circuit kind of thing. And then, obviously in the last few years, you had NXT gobbling up all these indie guys as well. So it's a cool market. Like, it's a much more affordable market than it would be as a master set collector. Really is. But prices are going up. There's a lot of speculating going on, like who's going to be the next big star, who's going to be the next potential Stone Cold, a potential Rock, potential Hogan, whatever. So I think where people are speculating a lot on these independent cards, and they're just going crazy.
Yeah. Speculation and fandom. I mean, come on. I think that's kind of what's driven every trading card space, like forever.
Sure. Speculation
and fandom. For me personally, I've got some of the all-in sets. I've got the NWA set, but we're player collectors. There's 2 things I want to do in the hobby. I want to player collect. I want to own a cool card here and there. And I want to make some money. So yep. I pick up the carrying.
Sound like 3 things, but go ahead.
I can't count. Carrying Cross. I still go after, and now especially this is going to totally change for me because he's technically an independent now. So we may start seeing him pop up if he signs with AEW, he goes to there. Could be upper deck cards. Who knows? So I got to keep my eye out on those. I actually just recently bought his, I think it was Wrestling Revolver, Tales from the Ring.
Yeah, I saw that.
I bought that single card out of that, but I have no interest in the whole set because it's just not me. Some of these other full sets out there, they're cool. And like, I don't dislike the talent from a wrestling perspective, but I'm not collecting it. And honestly, from like and I could be wrong. And, you know, from a like secondary market standpoint, I'm like, okay, I could, buy a blaster box of Topps Chrome sealed for cheaper than I could buy an independent set, which we don't we may or may not have a print run on. It's
Yeah.
like that.
It's
Like
a very questionable thing. I've actually had people, hit me up about, because the checklist sites will say,
yes,
150 sets printed, 300 sets printed, 250 sets printed. And that's just information that's been given to us from the actual people who printed the cards. I'm not going to really say the person's name, because I even though I think he kind of makes himself known, but there's been generally one individual out there for the most part. I mean, there's a few here and there, makes it, but for all the major ones, it's been one guy who's been printing all these cards all these years, but he is employed by the companies themselves, by, GCW, by PWG, by, he works in conjunction with all these people, and it's through his print company, his print place that he works, that these cards get made. So my information comes direct from him on how much he actually printed. Whether he's told me something different, I don't know, but I trust the person, I trust the guy, and he's been very helpful in getting these checklists put together for me as well. So I don't know where that lies as far as print runs go, but over the grand scheme of things, it's a hell of a lot less than what anything else is being put out there.
Yep. And, on the surface, I don't like it because, like I bought that Karrion Kross card and it says there's only 25 of them. Well, I've seen a couple more pop up on eBay recently. I've never seen anybody else with them, but yet it's not foil stamped. It's not hand numbered. And I'm like,
yeah,
I got to have it because I'm a player collector, super collector, whatever. But
it's not actually, let's be clear about that. It's not stamped as 25, and correct. No one stated that it's 25 other than what you picked up from WTC.
Right.
Because the math is what it broke down that way, that there's 4 different particular chase cards of that set across the print run. It's only possible to have 25 of each. It was
correct. And I think that people like the masses, and I mean, come on, we're a niche within a niche in sure. wrestling, but the majority of the people I see in wrestling, they like the numbered, they like the parallel, they like the yep. shiny. I'm not seeing those with Indy cards. So I think that
might change.
It could. I hope it does. And the other thing that I could be wrong on, and I have no problem saying I'm wrong if I am. What if these cards that, I'm not as big of a fan of, or I'm not buying as much as, say, Topps, or what I'll tell you, the Panini and the Upper Deck stuff, I'll be buying that.
Sure.
But what it, I'm sure back in the day when Topps first came out with WWF cards, people were saying, oh, those 82 All-Stars, they're not real.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Sure.
We could see.
They were disrespected. But when you had like the David Pecks of the world, the Rob Ingles of the world, out there, waving that flag for so many years, saying these are legit cards, man. These are historical collectibles within our genre. It took a long time for those to really catch on and become like what they are today, of course. Right. And I think Indy cards are kind of going in that direction yes. now. It's going to take them a lot less time to get to that, that 4-figure number than it did, for obviously the 82, 83 All-Stars. But, it's just, and I'll tell you, I'm thinking that WTC plays a role in this. This is where I'm going to kind of toot my own freaking horn here for a second. And I really think that it actually does play a role in this because for the longest time, we were dormant for a long time, as everybody knows that, WTC wasn't doing any updates since 2014, early 2015 through last year. And then when I started doing, updating all the checklists this year in May, go back to the website, look, May had our busiest month that we actually updated. We had like 500 plus pages were done in that month. And the first things I did was get all the checklists together for all the independent stuff out there and get all the information I could on everything there was about those independent cards out there. Thank you for that from Chuckster and Paul and Armand, who are like the backbone of WTC information site now. And I did that with the purpose of now grading companies can take these cards, get them slabbed now, actually authenticate them Although we're kind of having some issues a little bit here, like limitless stuff and things like that. But I think you gotta be patient. That stuff's going to start, be getting picked up by, just because on our website doesn't necessarily mean that Beckett and PSA immediately you're going to go and just
Right.
and grade it right away. But it helps, and having it graded now really increases that value. That's where I think it's going to end up happening now with these independent cards now, where we're going to have a greater opportunity for these cards to actually hit that 4-figure number.
So before we give our predictions, if we even have predictions, I've got 5 different sales, and they're not single cards per se. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But I've got 5 different sales picked out of within the last month. So from like early November till now, as the time of recording.
Okay.
And we'll start with the most expensive. So again, the idea is what's going to be the first, $1,000 Indy card. Well, let's be lenient and say set. And well, because that's another different thing about the Indies is like a lot of the people chasing these cards, they're like I want the whole set. Like it's not something like there are people that are like, I want the MJF, I want the Darby Allin. But then there are also people like, this is one of the first times in a long time that I've seen people within wrestling cards not named 82, 83 All-Stars been like, I've got this whole set.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, this is amazing. So we'll kind of be lenient on that. But November 28th, 2018 AAW Gem Lineham complete set, $425.
It's incredible.
It's officially now outsold the AEW on an average, on what the average goes for. So do you know offhand? I have not done the research on that set. Do you know offhand? Do you have a WTC pulled up for that specific set?
I don't have it up right now, but I can get it for you real quick.
I've seen them. I've seen the cards. I know that, and I can't remember. There's a couple of pretty big ones in there, if I remember right. Again, you guys have to forgive me. Like I'm not the indie card guy, but while we're pulling up the WTC, I do want to say shout out to Caleb Atkins, Collecting with Caleb on Instagram and Twitter. He's been doing a lot of work with a lot of these indie stuff, putting his own cards out on eBay, trying to get the market going for these. And I've talked to him, and I think he may be trying to get a podcast put together with some other people specifically focusing on indie cards, which is amazing. So.
That'd be great. Yeah, that card set 2018. It's the Jim Lyman Memorial Tournament set. It's got card number 1 is Darby Allin right there. First
there you
off.
go.
Then you got Sammy Guevara in there, stuff like that. God, who else is in there? AR Fox, MJF.
That's a good one.
Brody King, Chris Hero, Scarlett. So it's a good stock cards there, man. And again, the print run information comes from the printer himself, like that. Why am I hiding it? His name is right there in the damn information section. Chris Smith. Print run info is set to be only 150 sets. I mean, that's a very, very, very low print run number when it comes to wrestling cards. I mean, wrestling cards, you think about Topps, you think about now it's going to be Panini to be a bit bigger about it, I'm sure. But Topps, they're not a small company; it's a big company, and their print runs are considerably a lot less than what they print for baseball.
Yes.
So now you take an independent card set that only has 150 cards in it, and people are clamoring for these early appearances by talent that's on TV now on AEW or maybe NXT or somewhere in WWE. These card sets are going to be in high demand because there's not a whole lot of them.
To kind of go back to my 82 All-Stars argument that I was making, I wish, I think I've heard David talk about this before. David and Rob both, shout out.
There's only about 2,000 sets.
Yeah, that's still like 2,000 compared to 150. That makes these even potentially more rare. I mean, again, there's got to be a market. We'll get into that as we go through this, but so that's a Jim Lineham. Okay, December 9th, we've got the all-in Britt Baker PSA 10, which, I mean, come on, a PSA 10 on those all-in cards, forget about it. $375. So
which I think is
about that
super low price, considering the fact that she's become like the one of the 4 pillars now of the company. It's a super low price. Like even at $375, that person got a good deal. I really think so.
I like Britt Baker. I don't collect her. If I would have happened to have seen this and I wasn't so focused on my carrying cross stuff, I would have just been like, bye.
Yeah.
easy. Like even at $500, a PSA 10 on these is ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you opened any of the actual boxes of them.
No.
Like there's some of them because they weren't cellophane, they weren't cello wrapped. So
Yeah.
it's just like an open box.
But
And
just like these ones I picked up of this WrestleCade
Yes.
weekends like that. It's just they're all in there. Like
and they're all just like rattling.
Yep.
And some of the so again, a PSA 10 just ridiculous in those. October 30th.
Which oh by the way, it's a PSA 10 of an Indy card set that I think up until a year and a half ago never would have got graded.
No.
But it's on WTC now. It's been on there since the beginning of this year. So I think that helps.
Which again, they'll grade this, but then there's other Indy sets they won't grade. And like I don't know where we're at with that. It's very
I just talked to my friend Mark who works there, and he loves what he does there, but he's like, I just don't agree with a lot of the policies they have here about naming conventions and this, that, and the other. And they wouldn't grade this because it was this, or they went ahead and made an exception for this car for someone else. Like there's definitely some favoritisms going on there that you're like, I'm not going to get started on grading stock. I'm not going to talk about it. It's just move on.
All right, moving on. October 30th, PWG, the 16, 17, and 18 sets, $300
for all three.
So that's what the
another grossly underpriced for all three sets.
Yep.
I would imagine that for like one set.
If memory serves, at least two of those were like I'll say they borrowed from the Impel and Championship Marketing.
Yes, it was the first series.
Was that six? Was it before 16 then?
2016 has
16
that,
was the first.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was a PWG Battle of LA trading card set that came out. So it mimics the that set.
$100 a piece essentially. That's
which
good.
Is cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's not chump change. I mean, $100 is pretty good for an Indy card set. I mean, whoever sold these, I guarantee you they didn't pay 100 or half.
Well, that first set too. I mean, you're pretty much. I mean, all three of those sets are great sets, but that 2016 set, you have Cody Rhodes in that set.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy N, which is
that's the
card. That's the card to have in that set.
Cole.
Adam Cole's now. Ricochet's in that one. Phoenix, Pentagon Junior's in that one. I mean, there's just some great names in that set, and it's limited. I mean, it's also limited. I mean, and the fact that they gave it away, it was originally given away. You had to be at the event to get those cards. They were given away. And then High Spots got some. I was able to sell them. So again, I'm only going by the information. It's like that. I love to have him on as a guest one day. And I've talked to Chris several times about being a guest. He's just not comfortable being on at this point. And I get it. He's just, but he says like, this is what they made. But if High Spots got a hold of them and started selling them too, it's like, how many were left over that didn't get handed out at the show?
Well, you want to bring that up. How about all of a sudden, all of these High Spots autographed copies that they're starting to sell?
Okay, exactly. That's what I'm referring to actually, that too, as well.
Yeah. Yeah. They were selling full sets at one point after they were sold out. And then they were selling individuals after they were sold out. And I'm just like, what are we doing?
Well, to be honest, I mean, to be accurate with our description of that, they were not sold because they were given away at the first two events.
That's true.
When I did my interview with
no. I mean
Brian.
I mean on the High Spots, like there was a point where I went back.
They sold out from there. Yeah. So it's like, do you have extra singles laying around someplace like that? You just print out. I don't know. I mean, since we're talking about this, I'm sitting on right now. There is this card that came out for those that are listening. This is from the PCW Ultra. It's Alex Hammerstone. Yep. Okay. So cool card. Like it. Pretty nice. Allegedly, only 200 were printed. I say allegedly because I'm sitting here right now on 199 of them. I have 199 of those singles right here. And those were given by shout out to Hobby Farmer. These are his cards, they're not mine, just so you know. I got Hammerstone coming in doing a signing here at local's place next weekend. I'm going to have a bunch of these signed.
Oh, I want to also shout out Hobby Farmer Patreon member for the Wrestling with Cards Patreon. So thank you for that.
Awesome. And so we're going to be getting these signed, and he's the one who brought to the attention like, well, if I have 199 of them and now all of a sudden they're for sale again on their website, how many actual cards are there now? Now the numbers got changed to 400 because I went back and they reprinted. So he thought he had something exclusive almost by buying, almost all of them. And they went ahead and printed out more.
And people are paying big money for these. Like it's, they're
And again, in the grand scheme,
still
200 was still a little. 400 is more, but still little compared to everything else. I mean,
right.
as this market starts to expand more and the indie scene starts to become more of a thing, when Panini gets into this stuff like that and starts pricing people out, they feel like they're getting priced out and can't do this because it's too expensive for them to go buy that WWE product. You're still going to have your indie card guys, your Chucksters of the world are still comfortable with themselves because I'm going to get my base sets of what I'm going to get from my normal WWE product. But now I can just go out and just and not have to worry about any other chase. I'm now just going to continue to focus on my independent stuff because I'm one and done. I go to my $25-$30. I got it. I'm done.
And that's how a lot of people like to collect too.
And the bare minimum is something like, what you got, that carrying cross one, like it's 1 of 4. I only have 4 chase cards to go after. It's not impossible.
Right. Next sale, November 11th, the all-in set, $315. This is nothing new. We've kind of settled in that 300 to 350 for this set now. I mean,
you don't see that card set going up in value anymore?
Oh, probably eventually, but just like I would say in the past 6 months, it hasn't really moved from that range, 3 to 350. We'll see. Does it go down once the upper deck stuff comes out? Does it go up even more when the Panini stuff comes out? And
that's what I'm thinking, though. By the way, I'm thinking that when the official AEW says we had some knockoffs. I mean, I've gotten something I picked up in a collection, something, and I put up on my eBay page recently to get rid of some singles. We have these unofficial cards that have been put out like that, and they're commanding some decent money too.
Yes.
I think the Jungle Boy, at the time of recording this, was like at $5 for something like that, whatever, for a single, for an unofficial release. I mean, but I think the upper deck stuff, when it comes out, I think it's going to have an effect on these independent ones. Part of me wants to think that maybe they're going to become like stagnant because all the focus is going to be on upper deck. The other part of me thinks that, well, maybe they might go up in value because this is not really his true first rookie card. I want to go after this one over here from the PWG, or go after this one over here from the All In. Or Upper
Deck said on the recent Card Foundation they are not putting rookie card logos on there, so that maybe that does cause people to go backwards and buy the All In set. I don't know.
I think it's a big mistake.
I think well, they discussed it. I don't want to give away their content, so if you guys want to hear that show, again, go check out the Card Foundation. Great guys. Last sale, just like I said, pulling top 5, November 24th, MJF PSA 9, $350. Thoughts?
Another grossly undervalued card, I think. That seems to be the going theme for all wrestling cards for the most part. But for these specific cards, because there's such a clamor for them and such conversation about them, I just see these cards continue to go up. And I think you're going to see a lot of other independent people putting out their stuff like this, PCW, Ultra, things like that. That's, not in the same conversation as these kind of cards, but there's that speculation and potential for these independent cards. Like, who's going to have the next big guy that's going to become like something popular over an AEW or WWE? And these cards that you've just run down have set the tone and the level now of what people's independent card sets can turn into.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see about it. I mean, I don't collect them. I have no skin in the game whatsoever for this stuff.
Same.
I have zero interest in anything in there unless that someone released a Kurt Angle card in their set. I want to go after and get it, but I see what they are. I mean, from an investment standpoint, should I be going out and spending $25-$30 per set just because it could be a hot thing? I could probably spend my $25-$30 somewhere else. That's going to be more interesting to me.
Sure. So what's your prediction now that we've ran through all this stuff? What do you think is going to be the first card or the first set to hit $1,000?
It's a toss-up between, I don't know, man. This AAW one, now it's a high one. All In has always been like kind of the bread and butter. I think for a long time it was PWG. PWG was kind of like that. That was the set that everybody had to have.
Right.
It's tough to say, man. It really is. It's tough to say. I think it's really going to depend. Now that I know that there's no rookie card logos on this upper deck stuff, I think it might drive some of the people going after some of this stuff. And if we start getting more of these graded, let's also wait to see when we start getting more of these graded.
Sure.
Individual cards. I think it'll be an individual card that will hit the 4-digit mark before a set does. And once
Interesting.
that individual card hits, I think then the actual set will go up there as well.
Sure.
I think, I mean, it's just me. I mean, I'm not experienced in the market as you are. So that kind of stuff. I just, I know from a sales standpoint for myself over the years, but it could be anybody. It could be an MJF, could be a Britt Baker, could be a Darby Allin. And I mean, you know, see, all these guys are over in AEW, the ones that are commanding the big money.
Yep.
There's nobody that's over in WWE that's commanding this kind of big money right now.
Yeah, not
from any standpoint. You could say Tommy and, you know, because he was there, but he's in AEW now, and that's where his value's really kind of shot up.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Yeah. Well, I have another rant lined up. That's like,
sure,
I think I'm 3 weeks in a row of rants.
It's all right.
Okay, so if I have to pick one, it's going to be either.
The show is therapeutic.
It is actually the all-in set, as a complete set. I got 3-way tie. I got that, Britt Baker, or the MJF. Mm-hmm. So no matter what we're looking at, I think I know a lot of people go after that Darby Allin in the AAW. And again, PWG set the bar for independent cards, in my opinion. But I just don't think people are looking at those like they are these all-in cards. So that being said, people are going to have to start spending some money. I keep talking about this over and over and over again. Like, I have no skin in the game. You know, I have some all-in sets, but, you know, they're just kind of chilling in the box over there. Like, I'll sell them when I sell them. To hit $1,000, we see wrestling fans spend exorbitant amount of money on stuff, tickets, shirts, getting to, you know, taking a flight, getting a
replica belts.
Yeah, you could buy all of these together for less than a replica belt. Like, so that's my argument against this is we're gonna hit that eventually, $1,000. We're gonna surpass it, you know, within a year, 2 years, 3 years, but we could get there tomorrow.
Oh, I think we're gonna see it in 2022.
Yeah. But I think we could get there tomorrow if the same wrestling fans that are so dedicated to AEW, you know, they're out there. We've both seen them. Like, people just worship this promotion. Like, if they would put their money into the cards, you know, we'd be there tomorrow.
Yeah,
they'll go out and buy the chase figures. They'll, you know, I'm sure you saw today, Upper Deck put out the official autographs that you can go buy from them that are like way overpriced. I guarantee you there's going to be AEW fans that go out and pay that, but yet they won't spend that same amount on a PSA 10 Britt Baker. You know,
it's unbelievable to me, the price point they put on that kind of stuff. I mean, you can pick out 8x10s all day for $25-$30 from those guys.
Yep. So
incredible.
I think it's going to be some of the all-in sets. And then, you know, we wanted to get into the discussion of grading, and a lot of the people I see that are like, hey, I finally got this all-in set. I've been working on selling stuff to get to it. I finally got it. I love it. Most of these people that I've seen talk about how much they love these sets, they're not interested in grading them. So then that puts in a whole different thing. Like, who's actually going to be grading them? Is this a situation where the pop, you know, having a pop 3 actually matters, as opposed to those people who are like, oh, I've got a pop 3 Hogan 1990 classic, it's worth $1 million. You know, This could be one of those things where the pop, if, you know, in these really does affect it, because I personally don't see a lot of people breaking up their sets that I've seen talking about it that are huge fans.
Because these are set collectors for that kind of stuff. I think there's more set collectors in the independent stuff than anywhere else.
Let me put it this way: if ECW was doing this kind of thing back in the day, I think you'd have the same thing, because people love the promotion. It wasn't about the talent. It was just like, I want everybody in it because I like each person in that set for a different reason. And for a lot of people, you know, they just like to have all of that, as opposed to going and trying to get the value or gold refractors or one-of-one stuff like that. So, so it's an interesting dynamic, but I think you're right. I think sometime next year, we're probably going to hit that mark.
I'd be very close. I'd be very, very close.
I mean, we're almost halfway there with the, the Jim Lynam one was pretty much halfway there. And then the Britt Baker 375, that's not too far behind. So, was an interesting exercise. We don't talk a lot about indie cards, but with the recent explosion, I felt like we probably needed to give our 2 cents about the market and just our opinions, because that's what we do. Speaking of that,
Yeah.
Tony,
I
let
love the
everybody.
market. I mean, I love it. I love the whole independent stuff like that. I'm glad that I'm caught up for the most part for the website now for information. So, hey, if anybody looking to get these cards graded, you want to break up your set and start getting some stuff graded, feel free to reference the website, man. If you need, that helps you in any way, shape, or form to get your card graded.
Yep, WTC, the best wrestling source site there is. That's been shouted out on multiple podcasts now. I don't know if you know that, but
I don't know that.
A lot of other sports card podcasts, and they've had wrestling guests. They mentioned WTC. So
really,
yep,
I gotta talk to you about that.
heard it a couple of times. But again, PSA references it. I think eventually they're going to get this whole. There's too much indie cards going into them for them to say we don't want your money. You know what I'm saying?
So. Yeah. True. Very true.
So let everybody know where they can find you.
WrestlingTradingCards.com.
The same place for 20 years.
That's right.
Next year's 20 years, right?
This is our 19th year right now. So as of last week, it was 19 years. Well, a little over a week ago. So December 2nd would be the actual anniversary date.
What do we have planned for next year? Technically, it'll be the 20th, right?
20th anniversary next December.
Got anything planned? I know we've talked about, ups and downs of content creation and projects and this and that.
Wait and see.
Oh, cliffhanger.
See. Dun, right. Dun, dun.
Well, until next episode no, he probably still isn't going to reveal it next episode. But until next episode, you can find my stuff at Zhan Morning on social platforms, Wrestling with Cards on YouTube, Wrestling with Cards the podcast. Of course, if you enjoyed today's episode, let us know what you think on social media. Tag us in it. Share this with a friend. If you think this sucks, if you have a different opinion. Again, I love the conversation. That's what this community is all about. That's why we started doing the content engagement. Let us know what you think. Let's talk some indie cards on Twitter, on the Wrestling Card Discord. I couldn't count earlier. Now I can't talk. I'm telling you, this NPR application that I put in.
That's where it's time to end the show.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe, tell a friend, and leave us a review. Until next time, see ya.
Out.